The PGA Tour back in Los Cabos for another year at Tiger Woods' El Cardonal. What do we expect in year number 3 on this course? Austin Eckroat was the winner last year, came back at the final few holes, and Eric Van Rooyen 2 years ago. We have stats to get to and all the good stuff in between here on the Golfbet Roundtable. Chris Brees, Will Gray, Casey Johnston, new look guys. The fall is coming to an end. We're inching closer to some more guys getting more signature events next year.
I just want to re-rack the video and just focus on that pool. That seemed like a great pool at Diamante. I'm very excited to see some of the resort amenities this week in Mexico. Listen, we got 3 weeks to go for the FedEx Cup Fall. This is when, Casey, you start to feel the heat a little bit. If you're in that top 100, maybe to the 110, 120 slot there, knowing only the top 100 will make it for fully exempt status for next year, you need to get going, and it could start this week.
Yeah, this is when it gets exciting. I mean, we're always looking at the winners in some of these props, but there's going to be guys fighting for, top 40s, top 30s. I mean, get really compelling as they try to keep their cards. And, the heat's going to start picking up in Mexico. Luckily, Will, great pool.
Got the pool. We're good to go.
And how about the field this week? We've got a couple of Ryder Cuppers headlining this week. Ben Griffin is hitting that close to Rory McIlroy-ish kind of spot where we saw Rory a lot in the plus 800s, 900s. JJ Spawn right behind him at 12-1. Interesting to me, Will, that Michael Thorbjornsen, who was our favorite for a long time in the fall, a little bit this time.
I mean, it's not like he's in the back of the page here. We're still, there's only 3 guys shorter than him on this list. I will say I'm a little bit fascinated to see the Griffin-Spawn dynamic. Consensus was that those two kind of came out around co-favorites to start the week. Now we've seen Ben Griffin inch a little bit shorter, so maybe a little bit more money coming in on Benny Booms here than the U.S. Open champ, who does have a little bit more of a track record at El Cardonal. But we'll see how it goes. I mean, it's certainly some firepower at the top. I know that, Case, not to tip our hands, but you got your eye on one of these guys, right?
Yeah, I like it somewhat I see at the top here. Like you said, I think you can see some recency bias with Ryder Cup performances. Those 2 guys at the top. Eddie Booms has really built a fan base for himself, just with personality and his play. But yeah, liking the name I see at the top here. Some interesting names at the top as well that kind of surprised me. But yeah, I think I got one I can get at here in a little bit.
I feel like he's got to win a tournament before we can call him Benny Booms, but that's neither here nor there.
He's won 2 this year. Come on, Chris, give the man some slack.
We haven't called him Benny Booms in a while, okay? Or we haven't only done it for a few weeks, I should say. All right, guys, here's what's interesting about this course. The fairways are almost impossible to miss. Last 2 years on the PGA Tour, these were the easiest fairways to hit at 90%, and I'll raise you one more. The easiest greens to hit among the top 2 on the PGA Tour in the last 2 years. So, what do we make of this? The fact that you've got really easy fairways, you've got really easy greens. Will's really good at handicapping this kind of stuff because who are you picking? What stats matter when everyone hits all this stuff?
No pressure here, right, Chris? If the fairways are easy to hit and the greens are easy to hit, we might need to find some putters. I'll tell you that, because that's the problem with this course, is that the job is not done just because you're on the green and you're sitting there with a 40 or 50-foot birdie putt coming over a swale. So, Casey, we've seen the last couple of years, it's a small sample size, but it's a sample size that you have to go deep. This is an all gas, no brakes sort of golf course. You can lean on the driver. You don't have to worry about where it's going to go necessarily. And it is about how am I going to get to 18, 20, 23 under if I'm going to have a chance to win. Not too dissimilar to what we saw a couple weeks ago at Black Desert with the Bank of Utah Championship, where it was another week where you got to be in the mid-60s to feel like you're keeping pace with the field. But certainly south of the border this week, you have to put up a bunch of circles on the scorecard.
Yeah, well, and when you're handicapping these events, I'm sure it's something like this. It's an interesting approach where you got to take some of the stats with a grain of salt. You might see some really hurting stats that in other weeks you really got to put into play. But with such wide fairways, easier greens to hit, like you said, start leaning on that putter a bit more. Maybe someone that's playing some really good golf, but the driver's been bad. These are things we got to take into consideration, and I think we have.
2-year sample size, it's really tough if you want to dig deep into all these stats. You're not going to get the kind of numbers that you can grind and look at all these guys' statistics and where they rank again when they've played 2 years on here. But with that said, we want to make some picks. We want to get the people some winners here. Let's start with prop bets. And Casey's got one this week. You found, kudos to you, this is an 850, a plus 850 odd for your boy here.
I mean, I had this pick before I saw the odds, and then I saw the odds, and it just fired me up. Taylor Montgomery, plus 850 for a top 10. Will, you just mentioned we're looking for putters. This is arguably the best putter on tour. He's second in strokes gained on putting this year, but he is renowned for his putter. Not great off the tee, not great approach, but again, these wide fairways, easy greens to hit, that's going to play in his favor when that putter comes into play. I mean, not only that, he's 2 events removed from a top 10 at the Sanderson Farms. I mean, when I saw 850, I was all in on that. I mean, I don't know why that number is so high, but I'm all about it. I mean, like I said, second best putter on tour this year in strokes gained. You get that putter working, get himself on the green, stay in the fairways, which should be easy enough. I mean, I don't know how you don't add that to your card, and I certainly am.
The upside is certainly there. Like you said, he's just a couple weeks removed from a top 10 at the Sanderson. So, I don't know that we see a bunch of course comps between Diamante and Country Club of Jackson, but if the ball striking at the tee to green is there like it was a couple weeks ago in Mississippi, you're right. The putter is something you feel like he can lean on.
Casey, as good as yours was, I feel like Will's got you one up here. This is a guy, Will, who has 2 victories in the last 2 years. The problem was they were a very long time ago.
Listen, I'm just following Casey's advice. He said find a player who might struggle off the tee and otherwise has some areas to contribute. And so I found that man in spades, and his name is Nick Dunlap. Casey, we put together the graphic on Golfbet Social. I mean, he's minus 1 million strokes gained off the tee. I don't even know that he's able to keep it on on the planet at parts of this season, but he does have 2 wins to his credit, including one as an amateur. And now I'm getting plus 600 on him for a top 20. I really like that. Listen, we've taken all of the error off the tee is out of play. You don't have to worry about it this week, Nick. Just go ahead, swing free, and let the other parts of the game come through. And we have seen, credit to our staff writer, Paul Hodowanik. He's been a little bit of a Dunlap tracker the last few weeks, and he's been, kind of creeping up there. He's having some positive strokes gained off the tee. So even, without the Diamante setup to take into effect, there has been some reason to be optimistic about Nick's play overall, even if the results have been a little bit sporadic. But top 20 here, plus 600 this week on this course against this field, sign me up.
Yeah, and you mentioned those total strokes gained. I mean, he's gaining positive strokes total, approach the green, around the green, putting. And like you said, off the tee, he's in a different atmosphere from the rest of the tour this year. He's about 30 plus strokes more, 30 minus strokes more than the next closest guy off the tee. It's been brutal, but like we saying, I mean, the rest of the game is there. Put that into play, stay in the fairways, which I think I could even do on a course like this. Will, we might have put together a mean parlay here with these 2 picks.
I like it. Well, ladder him up. Let's go.
All right, mine wasn't as juicy and, insane as yours might sound. This is a top 10.
Whoa.
This is a top 10. It's insane-ish to think that Steven Jaeger is going to play good golf if you think that he was a flash in the pan. And I don't think Jaeger was a flash in the pan, Casey. I feel like he is due for another good week. And here's what I like. He had a very mediocre summer. Came back, played really well in Utah last week. This is the kind of player who I feel like he's just sitting there waiting. And once he gets his game back on track, he goes gangbusters. And again, kind of like both of your guys' adding to this parlay here, the driver's his only concern. If I don't have a concern with the driver, like you guys have been saying, he's a great putter, he's a great iron player, and he knows how to get in contention and stay in contention, Casey, when he actually gets up there.
Yeah, and like you said, this is a guy that we know has it in him. We saw him, a year or 2 ago, showdown with Scotty Scheffler and beat him, when it just became a head-to-head on Sunday between them 2. And he held on and took down Scotty Scheffler. So it's in there. And like you said, that play's starting to come around. He's got the parts of his game that are there, and there's a guy that knows how to win. He's been in the winner's circle before. Could definitely see it happening for him in Mexico.
Yeah, proven PGA Tour winner, like you said, took down Scheffler in Houston a couple years ago, and also shot 58 on the Corn Ferry Tour. So on a week and a course where you have to go low, anyone that can shoot a 58 is a friend of mine.
So what are the winners going to have in common this week? If we're only looking at a 2-year sample size of Austin Eckroat last year and Eric Van Rooyen in 2023, the one thing that we wanted to do was to take a look at how those 2 players did in their 5 events leading up to that victory. Now, there's not a huge correlation here, but Will, what I do take away from this is the fact that both players played well enough leading up. The 3 events leading up, they both made all of their cuts, weren't necessarily typically in contention, but they were making cuts. They're playing good enough. And you look, Eckroat had a top 10, Van Rooyen had a top 20, so both are playing pretty good golf.
And I think, Chris, this has to do with the style of golf and the setup this week, and knowing that you really do have to, get going from the jump on Thursday. You have to get deep into 15, 20, 23 under par. So that's your target. It's hard to go from shooting 72 and 73 to then shooting at 65. It's a lot easier to go from maybe shooting 69 or 70 and get it into those mid 60 numbers. So we've seen sporadic results in the fall where we've seen at other venues, other courses where guys have come on a run of 3 or 4 missed cuts and they're able to flip the switch and get a job done and lift the trophy by the end of the week. But this, over the last 2 years at least, has been one where the winner, and even if you look at some of the guys that were around them in contention, for the most part, they had a little bit of form, just enough to kind of build off of, so we're able to hit the ground running come on Thursday.
And the fall's kind of a different animal too, right? When you look at the field and you're not seeing some of the big dog names, and if you're building up just at least some of that confidence in weeks leading up, you kind of expect yourself as a tour guy, I should be in the mix here. When you're not seeing those, real big names, top 50 guys don't have to be in there. You got your Griffins and Spawns in the mix, but overall, it should be one where, as you're building confidence, that confidence should really peak as you come to a week like this.
So with that said, let's pick the folks some winners. Casey, he's your favorite. What do you love about the gent?
Listen, love Max Graceman. I've been a fan of this guy all year. I've hopped on him a couple times. That first win still hasn't come, but I think it's coming, and it should be this week. He just finished second place at the Bay Current, nearly hold it on the final hole to force a playoff. We saw a big string of missed cuts mixed in there, but he also made it to a playoff at the Rocket Classic. This is a guy that's a grinder. He's just a blue-collar golfer, and I love what he brings to the table. 4th place at this event last year as well, so even in that small sample size, we know he has success here. I just feel he's due for that first career win, and we know the FedEx Cup Fall is a big place for that to happen. And again, he's a guy that's weak off the tee. That's one of his worst suits when it comes to being out on the course. But again, this is the course that you can take advantage of that being a weak point and lean into those other parts of your game. Odds are a little shorter than I like at plus 2,000, but I'm riding with my guy. I want to be on the train when he does it, and I think this is the week he does.
Casey, these are all great points, all very similar to the points that I thought in my head before the Bay Current. Then he went and finished second again. I'm not ready to go back to the well. Similarly, Chris, as you know, when we last had our roundtable for the Utah, I said Rico Hoey. He comes in second. It's hard. It pains me to leave Rico Hoey off the card as well. So Grazeman's definitely going to have a chance, but I'm going to have to go a little bit further down the list for my winner here. And I'm going north of the border for the tournament, south of the border, giving Mackenzie Hughes, a proven winner in the FedEx Cup Fall, not once but twice, having won the RSM as well as the Sanderson Farms. And he doesn't have the sterling recent form, but as we just saw with Eckroat and Ben Royan, you don't need a ton to get it going at WWT. And Mackenzie Hughes fits the mold of someone who's not exactly stellar off the tee, but now you're on a course where you don't need to be stellar off the tee. What he does have is a wicked good short game, and I think that if he heats up on and around the greens, past Paolum, it's a different style of and variety of grass that we don't see week in and week out on the PGA Tour. But I think that Mac Hughes could definitely light the lamp a little bit here and potentially get win number 3 in the fall.
Mackenzie Hughes was my guy. You think back to September, I was picking him every week.
Right.
He didn't win. He really didn't come close, if we're being honest. If somebody's going to get it, Will, I would like it to be you. Later in the year, I fell off him. What has my rule always been? Stay on a guy if you think he's going to do well. I didn't stay on him.
Well, if following that rule, then Rico Hoey is going to win because I'm jumping off the bandwagon. I'm selling my stock at what might be an all-time high, and maybe he'll get the trophy and prove me wrong this week.
Well, I'm hoping this is a week where I'll be able to kind of heal Will's second-place trauma and show that, you know what, those runners-up can do it, and they're going to break through. So in some way, hopefully if one of us hit, someone's coming out feeling a little better that didn't necessarily make the pick.
There you go.
There's a reason why I went off the Mackenzie Hughes train, because I am back on the Nick Taylor train, you guys. And the reason why is because he hasn't played at all since August, his first event in the fall. This is a guy who, again, I was high on early in the year. And we're talking about a player, Will, who has a win and 9 top 20s in the 2025 season. I think he is so undervalued in general this season. I am surprised to see him near the top at 35-1, but I like the fact that, again, he's like all of our other players. Does not drive it great. He's an awesome putter. His irons can be red hot at times. He is rested, unlike a lot of these players. What do you think about this?
I think that Nick Taylor's win at the Sony might have happened 8 years ago. As I watched that montage, the fact that was in 2025 is amazing. We have come a long way. I will give you credit. Nick Taylor is someone who, as we've talked about in, whether it's bet feeds or these shows before, he wins more than he should. When you look at the number of trophies that he's racked up versus how many top 10s and top 20s he has, he really is very efficient at cashing in his spots on the leaderboard into real chances to win. So in that regard, plus 3,500 seems like a pretty good price.
I love our Canadian viewers to know I'm still big fans of you guys. Love our friends to the north, but we're going to rock with Gracerman. And if one of these two win, I'm happy for all of you. I'm happy for your country. I'm happy for Will or Chris.
You're not happy. Let's not lie.